Colorado's good. Colorado's team is good. I'd say Texas went in there and they won that game. I wouldn't say Bama just lost. Brock Purdy is legit. He's legit. Plain and simple. Oklahoma is legit, folks. Boomer Sooner. They might be here to stay. The Chargers, right? They got all the pieces, but they're not moving the right ways. I don't know. They have all those big names, and they can't stop a parked car. He looked like dog shit out there yesterday. He's the reason we lost our coins. Josh Allen's trying to do too much. He got too cute. He really did. He got too cute. It is Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Guys, why were we acting this offseason like they were just going to be good after what we saw last year? What was going to change? All their receivers are hurt. Anyway, Russell Wilson's more worried about, what his next PR move is and, signing babies and shaking hands than he is, being a leader of his team. He doesn't even give out his phone number to his teammates. The guy's a bot.
Damn, brand new bag for bro, but I didn't pay for it. I don't like spending that cash because I'm trying to savor it.
What's going on, chat? Happy BTL Tuesday, episode 316 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your hosts, Krabs and Javon. After some Nick Chubb leg explosion. Prayers up for our guy, Nick Chubb. There's bigger things going on in the squad rides, and I will be very surprised if we see him within the next 2 years. That was a brutal injury. Gruesome. We're not going to show the clip because it was gross. Javon, hate to see a guy like Nick Chubb, an absolute beast who finally got the reins, taking over that backfield, by himself for the first time in his career, and then his leg snaps on the goal line.
Yeah,
brutal.
That sucked. Oh. Everybody, you gotta love Nick Chubb too. He's a great dude. So to see that happen to him sucks.
Brutal, absolutely brutal. Hate to see it. But chats, we've got to come back and we got to bounce back with the squad ride dub today. We don't have a choice. Okay, we're counting that one as an L. I know a lot of you guys took it on the books. W Prize Picks for rebooting the Chubb Square and a couple squares last night. That's why you bet on Prize Picks. They take care of their customers. So a lot of other places didn't do that. It's good to see them take care of their guys. But Javon, we're going to need to find probably a baseball squad ride today. But that ain't no problem because you're still dialed into the boards. And we're going to talk about it. But first, let's go over the L recaps here from the squad ride and the best bets. Javon, it was never Chubb. Hate to say it, but I think we might have jinxed him a little bit last night. Yeah. You came through with the Royals on the ML, though. Late night cash. Love to see it. Okay.
Yeah, a little midday Royals on a Monday afternoon. Never complain.
Nothing like some Chubb. Midday trophy action, huh?
Yeah, then some Chubb cake, unfortunately, with the injuries to close it off.
Happens. It is what it is. And I ended up getting Panthers at plus 3.5 when I locked it in. So that was nice. Actually smacked that bet. Steelers won outright, but it was never Chubb. Prayers up for him. I hope I see him on the field at some point again because he's a great dude. And hate to see his leg explode like that. So let's move. Let's groove. I've got a Prize Pick slip I got to show you guys to recap because it was so terrible. Got to show it to you guys. Last night, thought I could make up for a little two-piece from the other day with another two-piece. Yeah, no way Derek Carr's throwing a pick tonight. His chart's super green. Well, he did because he stinks, and so do the Saints, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too. And then Jonah Doan, who was throwing a Jonah gem for the first 4 or 5 innings of that game, Javon, but he absolutely melted and ended up walking a couple people. So that was maybe the worst slip of all time. I didn't think that'd be possible with the Tyreek one the night before, but I think I outdid myself here, Javon. I outdid myself.
It happens. That's why we got all week. We got all week.
Yeah. Got to bring him back. We got a sub bang from DeGen. Let's go, my man. 18 months. Sure. Absolute GOAT. We got No Law coming in hot. 6-month sub bang. W's. Love to see it. Okay, chat. Let's keep moving and grooving. People still think Carr is top 10. Are we ready to move on? I really hope people don't think that, man.
I hope nobody ever thought
he
that.
Stinks.
He stinks.
Who didn't stink last night, though, Javon?
Who?
Adam Wainwright. A rare Adam Wainwright gem, folks. Career win number 200. If only somebody told you guys it was coming. Probably the only person on earth back in Adam Wainwright last night, Javon. Great cash, plus 150. It was always Wayno coming through, getting his 200th win. That was nice to watch. Legacy start.
Yeah.
7 innings, I believe.
Dominant. Yeah, 7 shutout innings.
Holy
really like
smokes.
I think the last inning where he stranded somebody on third was the only time he had a guy in scoring position after like the second or something like that. It's like he was dominant. That was pretty cool to see. Not even just that I bet on it, of course, but it was good. I didn't think he was going to get there after. I don't think anybody did after the long streak of games that he had throughout the rest of the season when he came back.
Yeah.
But he did it. So, especially since he did need to save his 200th win for the Reds next weekend, when that's probably his potentially his last home start. I don't know what their rotation plan is, but glad to get it out of the way.
He gets to focus on his performance after his last start in St. Louis. People forget he is literally grabbing a guitar and he's going to sing a concert on the field afterwards. That's never been done before. I'll tell you that much. I can go ahead and confirm that. Pitcher's never had his last start and then grabbed a guitar and a chair and a mic and went up there and sang. Okay, so that'll be a first chat. Make sure you guys tune in for that because I don't even know what to say about it. But that's pretty cool. He's very talented. Okay, and he still had at least a little gas left in the tank for one more great start. W. Wainwright, future Hall of Famer. Love to see it.
Love to see that.
All right, Ron Mux Clam coming in, giving out a sub bang. King Castro coming in with a sub bang. 7 months. We got a hype train, folks. W's. Let's keep moving. Let's keep proving here. Javon, Wayno wasn't the only one coming through last night. Talk about the Royals' legacies. Little midday trophy action. That's what I'm talking about.
Midday trophies. I mean, nothing hits more on a Monday afternoon in September than betting on the trophies, man. But I mean, that was ridiculous. They're down 2, I think, with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the 8th, and somehow the inning turned into 4 runs. Like I don't know. That was classic Royals, just BS. It's like that was
legacies.
Awesome to be on the right side of that. Drew Waters, put him in the Hall of Fame, man. He's the greatest of all time.
Put him in the Hall. Hope you guys took him on Prize Picks yesterday because that was air.
My goodness. So air.
W. Ron, W. Steelers. Yes, sir. You know Ron's always coming in here giving out sub bangs left and right. Hope he cashed last night. Javon, let's keep moving and grooving through the recaps. Chubb. I mean, we already talked about it for a second, but this is kind of wild, Javon. If you look back at some of the most recent Monday Night Football games, there's a pretty weird track record here of career-changing injuries. Kyler Murray tearing his ACL, Hamlin obviously going into cardiac arrest on the field, which was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles last week, and then last night, Nick Chubb with an absolutely disgusting and gruesome leg injury. Javon, this is pretty crazy.
It's super weird, and I don't like to see that. Not like I don't want to see it happen to anybody, but we got the Bucs looming on Monday night, so I don't feel good looking at that. That's super, super weird. This happening every Monday night. Hopefully the trend ends, not just for that, but for everybody.
Yeah, they got to stay safe out there, man. These guys are getting hurt like no other. I mean, I'm not really surprised as players get bigger, faster, stronger. I feel like the injuries are only going to, continue to grow, unfortunately. But prayers up for these guys and hoping for a speedy recovery. All right, let's keep moving. Bryce Young, Javon. I know the Panthers had a legacy push or cover if people grab the 3.5 like me, but Bryce Young is just not it. I mean, he's got his running back literally pushing him out of the way because he's not standing in the right spot before a play is about to call, Javon. Maybe he just doesn't know the offense like the back of his hand yet. Maybe he's not comfortable in this NFL offense. I don't know what it is, but it looks like he's playing in slow motion out there. He's super slow in his progressions. Even when he's running, he's like getting ready to like hide and slide super early. I've never seen a QB slide like 5 yards before he sees a linebacker, and I don't blame him. I'd probably be doing the same shit, but he's an NFL quarterback, not just a guy betting on the games here, Javon. I am not impressed at all from what I'm seeing out of Bryce Young, and I know his offensive line stinks. I know he doesn't have the best weapons, but seeing his, star running back, Miles Sanders here, just pushing him out of the way instead of just saying, scoot over or some shit like that, tells me that the frustration is starting to build up in that clubhouse. And you even saw some stuff after the game with Miles Sanders and some of the guys talking about the offense not clicking. They don't seem too stoked about what they got going on with new number 9 at center.
Yeah, which, I mean, again, I don't blame it too much on him. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's looked great the first 2 games, but, like, yeah, you have a bad O-line. Yeah, you want to talk about one of the reasons he's probably pretty slow through his progressions because the only guy consistently getting open looks like Adam Thielen, and those are on short little drag routes that seem to be the only real short routes that are not to like Hayden Hurst. That was a bigger thing in the first game, more so than last night. Like the only short routes that they ever let him attack with. Otherwise, it's just like Bryce Young has to be superhuman and make a play by himself because nobody else is going to do it. So like I just don't think the offensive system has put him in a good enough spot like early in his career to be successful. So like, yeah, he looks kind of lost out there at times, but I think it's just situationally like what the spot is for the Panthers. So I don't place it on him like having a lack of talent. I think it's just the whole situation there is screwed up.
Okay. And shout out Thielen, by the way, legacy game from him last night. It was nice to see him succeed because he's really been struggling with injuries for the last couple of years, and he was getting fed. Good for him, right? But Javon, let me ask you this. Would you want Bryce Young on your team? Would you want him on the Bucs?
100%.
You would? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not that the Bucs have a significantly better offensive line than the Panthers, but it is better. And you put Bryce Young on a team with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and those receivers more so than, the social security checks of Hayden Hurst and Adam Thielen. Like, he would look ridiculously better. So I would love him. Yeah, long term, like we're saying.
Long term, 100%. I meant
long term, I want him
right now over Baker.
Yeah, I mean, long term, of course. But, like, yeah, you put him in a situation like I'm sure the Panthers are going to invest in the offensive line come the offseason. They're going to get him younger weapons. I feel like now they just want kind of security blankets that, you have veteran guys that kind of know how to operate as wide receivers. They're not the best. They're not the fastest. They're not the strongest. But they kind of know how to try and get a rookie quarterback comfortable. It's just not doing enough.
Okay. Well, I don't know if anything's going to change this season with that O-line and with the weapons he's got.
Not this season.
I don't really think it's going to change. Okay.
No.
And I personally would rather have Baker Mayfield than Bryce Young. Maybe not for starting my franchise with if I was, building a team on that end. But as of right now, I don't even think it's close.
Give it a couple weeks. It'll be a little more of a debate.
I'll slow my roll on the Bryce Young hates. I'll give him some more time. His team is Moose. He probably deserves it. Okay. Let's talk about Matt Canada because I think this is one of the most popular narratives from last night. Javon, Matt Canada, does he need to go? Even with this team pulling out a win last night? I mean, it was mainly the defense. They had more points than the offense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was a huge Matt Canada problem. I think for the Steelers, talk about like both offensive lines in this game, they were an issue to the point where it was like almost unbearable to watch. And like the Browns especially had a really good defensive line, especially now that you have not just Myles Garrett, but kind of a balanced offensive or defensive line there. So they were giving them problems. Kenny Pickett had absolutely no time to throw. But like, what are you going to do when you're going back there to throw and you have no time? You can't go to the run game all that much because Najee Harris is super inefficient. They haven't gotten to the point where they're kind of circling the offense around Jaylen Warren yet, but he got some touches and they're much more efficient kind of in both spaces. So once they get to that point, I think the offense will be much, much better. But also, like, we're talking about like the fourth quarter props in this when we're sweating it out, like those defensive touchdowns at the beginning and end of the game kind of swayed the game to the point where like the offense didn't have to do too much because they were, especially at the end, like the Browns had the ball the entire fourth quarter pretty much because they had the fumble touchdown and then they were just trying to bend, not break on defense. And then when they got the ball back, they were just chewing clock. So it was situational, but they have to figure out the running back situation with Najee and Warren before they do anything.
Yeah, I mean, Najee had some nice runs there at the end of the game, but overall, I mean, he looked slow as heck, and Jaylen Warren looked incredible out there every time he touched the ball. So if they haven't moved to at least, it has to be split, but it should be probably more at this point. I mean, how much longer does Jaylen Warren have to prove himself to get more carries? We've been seeing the same narrative for the last year or so with Jaylen Warren, people saying that he might even be better than Najee. He just doesn't get the reps. So I don't know what dirt he has on Coach Tomlin, but I'd be shocked if we don't see more Jaylen Warren going forward. I hope you guys scooped him up in your fantasy leagues because it might be the Warren show going forward if he keeps playing like he did last night. I mean, he was great.
This too. Like, it makes the offense look a lot worse when they're giving Najee early down work and he's barely getting to the line of scrimmage. So like you have a bad offensive line at this point in time against a good D line that's getting pressure every single time. And you have to drop back without your top target and Deontay Johnson. So like you're in third and long. That's going to make you inevitably look way much worse than it actually is. I don't blame Matt Canada all that much yet.
Yep, and they are kind of in a Cowboys predicament here, where they're paying him a bunch of money, and what are you going to do? You're just going to bench Zeke when he stinks? And my thought process is, yes, you bench your guys who stink, and you start your guys who are playing better, and you ride the hot hand. But I'm not an owner of a team, and I'd imagine those guys lose sleep over not playing guys they're paying, right? So I'm not surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if ownership / coaching was maybe saying, "Hey, we paid this kid. We're not going to give him a full shot before we take away his starting role." So I understand why it's taken so long. Okay. What else, chat? Steelers do have a very predictable defense. I'm with you. And yeah, if you faded every single one of Colin Cowherd's plays this week, you would be 10-0, which is pretty incredible. Javon, if you think about it. He has not hit an NFL bet yet this season. That's insane. For the Blazing 5, he's 0-5 in week 1, 0-5 in week 2. That is impressive. It is.
Colin.
Jeez, where Colin was wrong. All of his plays. Every single one. Hate to see it. I honestly like watching Colin Cowherd for the most part, and the Blazing 5 is one of my favorite segments. So he probably will bounce back. He probably will. But that is some moose shit, Betty. 0-10?
Yeah, it's kind of tough.
And do we think he's even betting on these plays? Do you think Colin's getting action in? Does he strike you as a guy who's, throwing nukes on these NFL sides? I feel like he might be sprinkling,
Yeah, maybe.
We don't unit shame, but I would be surprised if he's throwing more than, $100. My units are probably bigger.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Let's keep moving and grooving. We got one more segment, one more bit to go over before we hop into college football rankings, folks. And that's gassing up TJ Watt because he deserves it. Not only did he have his first career touchdown last night, Javon, he now is the leader in sacks in franchise history for an organization that's had a ton of great talent on the freaking defensive side of the ball from the Steelers. A bazillion guys on that team, on that side of the ball in the last 20 years who have been elite. And TJ Watt in his 28th year is already the career leader in sacks. He is a menace. He might be the best player in the league, if not has to be the best player on the defensive side of the ball, Javon. This kid's unbelievable.
Yeah, unreal. And if you want him to continue to set records for sacks, put him up against a rookie right tackle, and then on the other side, Jedrick Wills, because he dominated them and it looked embarrassing. Absolutely, just all night. It was crazy. That's why, obviously, I'm on the Deshaun Watson train. He didn't look good last night, but a lot of it was because he had guys in his face 24/7. But TJ Watt, what he's doing against anybody, not just those two guys, are absolutely ridiculous. Like he said, one of the best defensive players, and you can certainly make an argument for the best this season if he keeps up this pace.
I feel like every time I watch this kid play, he's forcing a fumble. He's getting a sack on third down when the team needs it most. He's like the biggest playmaker I've seen on the defensive side of the ball in my entire life watching football. I've never seen a guy leave this much of an impact with his plays. And chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know if there's another guy in your mind. Micah Fitzpatrick.
Ray Lewis.
Micah Fitzpatrick. Ray Lewis back in the day, sure. Ed Reed back in the day, sure, I guess. Whenever he did something, it was a crazy pick six. But, TJ Watt on the D-line, making game-changing plays like this almost every night. Yeah, Parsons, he's up there as well. Definitely. I put him in the same boat probably.
It's Parsons, TJ Watt, and Myles Garrett, big three. You can make an argument for any of them right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would even say maybe TJ Watt and I'd say maybe even those first two guys, 1A, and then maybe Myles Garrett 1B.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right? Where he's super close, but you still got to put TJ Watt and, Parsons at 1A because those guys look like they're playing against high school lines. That's how dominant they are. Insane. Nick Bosa, he's probably up there too.
Okay. Close.
Okay. No Parsons hate chat. Parsons is elite. He's elite. But TJ Watt's doing stuff I've never even seen before. Every time he plays. It's nuts. Aaron Donald, pretty good. Yeah, he's pretty good. Chase Young. Yeah, Chase Young was a beast this week, and I'm happy to see him show out because he has been so mid for the last 2 years. So W's for him, but he is not even close to that category yet. All right, let's keep moving and grooving though, Javon. Just wanted to give some respects for TJ Watt, who is now the franchise leader in sacks when he's only 28 years old. I freaking bet.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So
got to tip your cap. Chase Young under sacks, possible dono. Kobe, it actually might be because he had 1.5 this past weekend, which is honestly impressive. I still feel like you're in a good spot, though. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Chats, we've got plenty of time today. We're going to go over college football rankings. We're going to do some look-ahead lines for college football and NFL. And then we've got the MLB slate. Javon's going to walk us through and help us find some winners for tonight. And then obviously the squad ride as well, folks. So stay locked in. We're going to talk some college football rankings. The new BTL power rankings just dropped, Javon. Let's take a peep at them. Yes, Georgia, still number one. We talked about it, but I really don't think there's anybody who's ready to overtake that number one spot yet. It's still Georgia, although they did not look great in that game, Javon. They stomped on them late, and they ended up beating South Carolina by 10. They did enough to hold that number one spot. Are you still pretty impressed with Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't for a majority of the game, but like when a team flips that switch, like Georgia just does, and like they did, like to start that second half. I mean, there's nobody better, especially defensively. So like, there's nobody who's come close to knocking them off yet. We'll see. I mean, probably not from them because they have a super soft schedule and spots where they'll slip, but we'll see if anybody else looks better. They have a couple of these teams have really big games coming up.
Yes, they do. And we got a sub-bangy from Sox. Let's freaking go. Very cold take on the CU students storming the field, Krabby. That's okay. People always hate my takes. I just personally don't think you storm the field when you beat a team that stinks. That's all it is. If you're a ranked team and you beat a crummy team, you shouldn't be storming the field. That's my only point. That's all it is. All right. Keep moving and grooving here. Javon, Michigan, they get their swagger back. They get their coach back this week, and they did a good job of really not making any of those games sketchy in the first couple of weeks without Coach Harbaugh. Well, now he's back, and I've been pretty impressed with Michigan as well, and I think they deserve to be number 2.
Yeah, again, not a situation where anybody's been able to knock them off yet. They've looked good against the weak competition they've been able to face, so we'll see when they play real teams, but they look good.
100%. No qualms with them at 2. We've got USC at 3. All right, Caleb Williams, absolute stud, probably the best player in college football this season because he's making plays like this. I mean, you guys, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, whether it's the team who drafts him or trades their pick away for a bazillion other picks, because that's how valuable this kid's going to be. He is unbelievable, and he's going to be a star as soon as he enters the league, just like Mahomes was. And I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Mahomes, but I am saying I see flashes out of this kid where he's going to look unstoppable in the league, and I don't see that step up in competition really affecting this kid much because he's a freak and he was born to play QB. He really was.
Yeah, I mean, who's both these teams here? I mean, we have USC at 3, Washington at 4.
Yeah,
like who's stopping these offenses right now? Like they've played, I mean, frankly, weaker competition with bad defenses. I guess Washington's had a little tougher of a schedule than USC has, but like nobody's stopping these offenses with all due respect, in or out of the Pac-12. So until I see anything different, like these teams are just going to be right up there at the top.
100%. As they should be. And Javon, talk about Washington real quick. Michael Penix climbing up those Heisman rankings. Looks like he's the second shortest odds to win the Heisman as of right now behind Caleb Williams. And they got Quinn Ewers on there too. I mean, give me a break. Javon, does Michael Penix have a chance to win the Heisman / how high are you on this Washington team?
Oh, I mean, so high. Like it's not like the hottest take because everybody wants to come into the season after what we saw last season, but their offense, and they've had like a couple of these games. Like, I mean, Boise State, I guess week 1, and then Michigan State, who was in a really tough spot, but I kind of had in the back of my mind that they would keep this close because they are a little more physical on both sides of the ball because that's a little different of a style of football, but they just keep passing every test and checking every box. So, like, yeah, are they going to play better teams kind of in a couple weeks? I guess they have a big game against Oregon. Obviously, they play USC down the line, Oregon State, and Washington State all towards the back end of the season, but they look ridiculous. Like Jalen McMillan and Romeo Dunze on the outside with Penix, who looks like 1A, 1B with Caleb Williams for best quarterback in college football right now. Like,
yep.
Until proven otherwise, nobody's stopping him.
I mean, look, if I was a GM, I'm drafting Caleb Williams 11 times out of 10 between these two folks, but Penix has been right up there with just the stats. I mean, he's been absolutely filling them up, and he really has not made any mistakes yet up to this point. So extremely impressed by the lefty. I got a soft spot in my heart for him as a left-handed guy. Love watching lefties huck the ball. Love watching Tua. Always root for these dudes, and I'm rooting for Penix as well. He's a swag hound. His brain works the right way. He's a lefty. Okay, he's sharp. He's creative, right? He thinks outside the box. All the tools you need to be a star QB in the NFL. But Penix, he could easily be the second overall pick at this point. I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes before May with how he's looked. It's getting to that point.
I'm interested to see how they play this week because, like,
against your Cal Bears, by the way.
Yeah, like by no means do I think Cal is going to win this game, but like defensively, I think they have something there, which is kind of in the back of my mind. Not that like the defense has been good this season for the most part, but they also, people forget, they held Washington's offense last year without a touchdown in the first half, which nobody else did. Their defense was really good with kind of a lot of worse, I guess, 11 around them on defense. So I'm interested to see if it's like a coaching thing that they know how to stop Washington or are able to do it. So maybe I would love to see them, not just for Cal's purposes, but for Washington's purposes. I want to see them get tested early in a game and then start to fight back. So I want that to happen this week. And I'm interested to see how they might respond.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that spread right now, 21.5.
Yeah, I mean,
about a point and a half towards Washington. Not a good sign.
It's not like they're going to win, but I think they can keep it close at least early in the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Washington looks a little human on offense for like the first quarter, maybe first half of the game, and then they just roll over them in the second half. So I want to see that. That'll be interesting.
Be nice to number 5. You, Lauren. Javon, I don't know how nice you're going to be about Texas, but I don't think they're terrible. I don't think they're in a bad spots. I think their win against Alabama is less impactful and less meaningful right now, Javon, after how we saw them look this week, right? And that's kind of why we dropped them down to the 5th spot. But besides that, I still think Texas is in great form, and I've been impressed with this team, and I think they're in a great spot, better than most.
They are, but then I don't know. It's yes, that win against Alabama is definitely looking worse by the day. We'll see how they bounce back from it, how Alabama does. But the one thing that really, really concerned me is we talked about Alabama and their defensive line getting pressured pregame on Quinn Ewers and how that would be the difference. They didn't, which is why he was able to sit back there and be super effective. Wyoming got pressure, and that's why that game was so close for 3 quarters. So if we see a couple of defenses in the Big 12 do that, and a team who has a revamped front 7 and secondary for that matter in Oklahoma, who's 1A, 1B with them in the Big 12 right now, that concerns me for Texas. Like I still think they're significantly better than everybody not named Oklahoma in the Big 12. So it shouldn't be a worry outside of that, but that game scares me a little more now. I was already high on Oklahoma, period, and in that game, but if they're getting pressure on them, Quinn Ewers just might be Quinn Ewers.
Is that game next week?
I think 2 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe 3. I think it's first week of October.
Okay, so probably 2 weeks away. Okay.
Yeah, 2 weeks and then Red River October 7th.
Okay. I wanted to know how much of a look-ahead spot this was against Baylor this week, and it's not too much of a look-ahead spot.
No, the Kansas game at home where they've already lost to them very recently.
That's a mad look-ahead spot. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeesh. How wide open is the playoff this year? Extremely.
Yeah.
Just how we like it.
Problem is, I would love for it to be wide open with like the one issue with like Georgia and Michigan. I guess not Michigan because they'll play actual teams in the back end. But like if Georgia was to have like an actual rigid SEC schedule this year, like I think they would lose a game or two. It's like they don't though. That's the problem. It's like it's so wide open, but we're probably going to end up seeing at least them, but then the other teams kind of sneak in who don't play anybody. I want to see the Pac-12 though. Pac-12 is going to be madness once USC, Washington, and Oregon start playing each other. That's going to be insane.
They're going out with a bang before all these schools leave. We're getting one more year of elite Pac-12 football, folks. Do not miss it. Okay, you will regret it if you're a bettor. Okay, you're not going to get late night Pac-12 action like you're getting this year ever again. Okay, Let's keep moving and grooving here, Javon. Florida State at 6. They dropped a little bit, barely beat Boston College. That was the freest bet of all time. BC at home, plus 24. Javon, great call. Florida State also plays Clemson coming up, Javon. But talk about the Seminoles and how sketchy they looked with a banged-up Jordan Travis, who still got it done on the road in a weird spot. They still pulled out a win, but, man, they did not look impressive.
Yeah, it was a weird look-ahead spot in Chestnut Hill where, the game was obviously a little more packed than usual, but, nobody goes to those games. So, I kind of saw that coming. I didn't think BC would actually have a shot to win, and they probably should have if they didn't have 20 penalties and go for it. They went for 2 when they were down 14, which they didn't get it. So, they came to the end of the game, and they had to get 2 scores instead of 1. So, I don't know what the coaching decision was there. But yeah, they had a problem getting through this game. So Florida State concerns me. I've never seen a team try to lose a game more than they did with those ridiculous turnovers. And Boston College, to be honest with you, on both lines, week 1 and week 2, they were getting dominated by Northern Illinois and Holy Cross. Florida State's defensive line and offensive line looked like any other offensive line to Boston College. They held their own in the trenches, which is what kept them in the game. So going into Clemson has not been great at the skill positions. Obviously, Cade Klubnik has not been great, but the one place that has really not went anywhere is Clemson State on both sides of the trenches. So that concerns me about Florida State going into this week on the road in Death Valley.
Give me the points. We're going to need them.
Yeah.
We're taking them.
This was that game was literally not
look. As an ACC guy who's been watching these teams forever, there's something about Boston College. I don't know what it is, but
it was a red bandana game too.
People forget it was red bandana game. Yep, weird stuff happens those weeks as well, and they almost won outright. It's literally like clockwork, and honestly should probably be studied because it's so weird. But there's something about that place, Javon. It's like a black hole. When good teams go to play there, especially early on in the season, before it gets too cold. For some reason, those games are sketchily close. It's just something about BC. I don't know what it is, but they're playing good teams at home in the ACC. They're making those games a lot closer than they should be on paper. It's what they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
BC
weird.
Spread was there. Let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving.
So weird.
What else we got? We got Notre Dame and Ohio State at 7 and 8. And Javon, maybe we should have flip-flopped these now after looking at the line for this game this weekend, but Notre Dame probably deserves to be ahead of them right now with how they've been playing. They've looked great. Ohio State really has not looked special, but they've taken care of business, and these two teams will face off this weekend and probably the game of the weekend, Javon. Where's your head at with these two squads? What are you thinking about Notre Dame and Ohio State right now?
Yeah, so they're on pretty level playing fields for me, and I don't feel bad about that going into this game because I think it's going to decide it all. I'm definitely a little concerned looking at this line that I guess we'll talk about in a little bit for Notre Dame, but these are two teams that are just going to prove it. It's the first time both these teams, and Notre Dame had a game on the road against NC State, which was, miles ahead of how impressive any, I guess, game was competition-wise between both their schedules otherwise, but yeah, these teams look awfully similar. I haven't been impressed by McCord, but I haven't been impressed by a couple things on Ohio State's team, not named Marvin Harrison Jr. So we'll see. They have a big prove-it chance tonight or this week.
We got a first-time chatter coming in with a question. Didn't this line open at Ohio State -7? It dropped a ton, he's saying. Yeah, that was the look-ahead line from the week prior.
Yeah, look ahead.
So, technically, it was.
Reopened at 3.5.
That's what it really opened up at.
Yeah.
3.5. Okay. Javon, is it going to be Ohio State and the Buckeyes laying 3 on the road? Because that is now that I think about it, after how good Notre Dame's been looking and them being at home here, and Ohio State, they've scored some points recently, but I wouldn't say they've looked elite.
Yeah.
That's some serious respect for the Buckeyes on the road here against a public favorite, Notre Dame.
Yeah, I would say I was really hoping that it was going to be 2.5 or lower for Ohio State, and opening 3.5. Although it is down to 3, it concerns me a little bit for Notre Dame here because I do think, they have a couple of big games. I really didn't pencil this one in preseason as them, having a pulse in this game necessarily. I thought it was going to be more the USC game that's at home, and then maybe Clemson. We'll see how that plays out on the road, but yeah, this is one that concerns me as an Irish guy.
Okay. It might be the Buckeyes on the road, folks. And that game, either way, is going to be must-watch TV. Must-watch.
Yeah, that'll be a great game.
Round it up, Javon. We got Penn State at 9. They deserve to be in the top 10. They've been kicking in dicks the entire season. I think they're 3-0 against the spread. It seems like they're playing like they know the spreads. Penn State taking care of biz like no other this season. They should be in the top 10. And they've got a legitimate 5-star QB in Aller, who's only going to keep getting better. And then, Javon, we got Oklahoma at 10. I want you to let the people know what's good with the Sooners as that stock continues to rise with this team, man. And you're going to see more people starting to get hip as they continue to destroy teams week in and week out. But Venables got that defense playing good enough, and that offense with Gabriel is firing on all cylinders, Javon. You got to be stoked about your Boomer Sooners futures.
Yeah, I was told Dillon Gabriel didn't look good last year when 90% of the team was hurt, and he was hurt too. So surely Oklahoma wasn't going to be good this year, but they bounced back. That offense, it looks just like I said, it looks like a Kyler Murray offense. It looks like a Baker Mayfield offense. It looks just as electric as it was when they had the other Riley, as the coach there running that offense. So that's what we're seeing. And the defense is so much better. Like, again, I'm not an Oklahoma person just in general. I despise them with all of my being as a opposing Big 12 fan, but this defense scares me. Like, this is the best they've had in I don't know how long. Like, they're physical. Their corners are actually good. You can tell they're running like a scheme instead of just throwing guys out there in zone coverage and they can't find guys, finding a man coverage, and they can't stick on guys just because they're not very good. People forget Venables is the coach of this defense, and they're going to continue to get better. So, I mean, watch out for the Sooners. Like, when it comes down to the Red River, that game might be a playoff game. Like, I genuinely believe both those teams will be in position to run through the Big 12. And that's going to be the game.
Pull up their schedule. If we can take a look at Oklahoma's schedule, I'd like to rip through it and see if we even see a loss on that at this point in time. Because, Chad, if you guys haven't already hopped on and tried to get a little future action going with Oklahoma, maybe betting them to make the college football playoffs, maybe betting them to win the whole shebang, I would get an ASAP. I don't think you're going to be getting a better number at this point.
Yeah.
We'll have to see in conference play. They looked good early last year before the doors got blown off. Agreed.
It's not really true, though. They looked bad before a lot of those teams. Like, they couldn't score. Last year, I remember they couldn't score for a while against Kent State. And they, struggled for a bit against Nebraska before they pulled away late. Like, we haven't seen that. And then the first game in Big 12 play, they got beat by Kansas State like they always do. So, they didn't look good at the beginning of last season. It wasn't dominant. Now they're dominant. So, yeah, the schedule sets up pretty nicely. I'm interested to see how they play this week because, Cincinnati.
I mean, that's not an easy game.
No, it's not an easy game at all.
No.
So I think that's one that'll have potential to be close for a little bit.
Iowa State should be a win because those kids bet against themselves, which is ridiculous.
They suck.
They stink. And then you got Oklahoma at Texas. Javon, that game is going to be bonkers.
That's going to be crazy.
Holy
That's going to be one of the best college football games of the year, I think.
Neutral? Is that what Lauren's saying to LeBron?
Yeah, it's always the Cotton Bowl.
Yep. Okay. And then they got UCF, which no slouch either, but should take care of business there. You got Kansas at Kansas. That's a sketchy game too. Oklahoma State is a tough game as well. I mean,
it's just look at their road games, man. If you want, I'm looking at the toughest games of the season, which obviously Texas is up there. It's a neutral site. UCF has looked pretty good. I don't know the status of John Reese Plumlee, but that team's looked pretty good. They get that game at home. Oklahoma State is on the road. That's Bedlam. They look horrendous. BYU's a tough trip to make, but they don't have the offense to keep up with them. It all sets up pretty nice. I mean, they avoid Kansas State, who is the one thorn in their side, no matter how good or how bad either of the teams are, which is massive. They don't play Baylor, who always plays them tough for the most part, at least for 3 quarters. It's a good-looking schedule for them.
Yeah, that Texas game, it's going to come down to that. That's going to be a tough game to win. Holy smokes. With all the hype surrounding that program this season, that's going to be must-watch TV. Holy smokes. BYU will beat them.
Sure. Telling you,
that would be something.
BYU plays way too much man coverage. You're going to see it's going to be ugly for a while.
If they're running man, with Dylan Gabriel and how that offense is looking, that could get ugly fast.
That's going to be a problem.
They just don't have bodies to keep up with those guys.
Yeah, I don't think BYU is that bad. It's just like that. The reason why I faded them, and it will be fading them a lot in the Big 12, is because you're running man coverage against these superior athletes all over the field. Like, that's going to be a problem.
How many points is Oklahoma going to beat TCU by at the end of the season?
A lot. Honestly, like
a lot.
TCU always plays them close in Oklahoma for whatever reason. They just always lose in like heartbreaking fashion. So like we'll see where the defense has kind of gotten to by that point, but it'll be close and then they'll pull away late.
Okay. Javon, let's pivot. Let's talk about some college football and NFL look-aligns here for about 10 minutes. Look-ahead lines for some of these big games. And then we're going to talk MLB for the last 30 or 40 chat, find you guys some winners for today. And then, of course, go over the squad rod. Okay, so stay posted, sit back and relax as we talk about some of these lines that just came out for college football and NFL. Let's start with the Hokies. Everyone's favorite team. They love when I talk about the Hokies, Javon. I just wanted to point this out. This is crazy. I mean, we're getting 5 points against Marshall. What a joke our program is. Game. Yeah, it is a Grant Wells revenge game against Marshall. But my goodness, what a joke this line is. And I'll tell you what, chat, I would not be back in the Hokies on the spread here. If anything, I'd be laying it with Marshall because they are a better team. They might even have a better roster on paper at this point because we still don't get our good recruits until next season. And they're better coached, plain and simple. Take Marshall this weekend. That's a crazy line. You don't want to be back in the Hokies with how terrible drones looked at QB last week. I don't even know if Grant Wells is going to be healthy enough to play this week. And if he does, I don't even know if that helps us because of how bad he is too. So fade the Hokies. That's a ridiculous line. I wanted to start this out and show you guys. That's disgusting.
Yeah, and we don't need to talk about this game, but I see it right below it. Rice -2.5 against the USF team. They're just hung in there with Bama for a majority of the game.
Yeah.
That's weird. I hadn't looked at that one yet.
Extra Chipotle white rice because that shit's good on the -2.
Gas.
All right, keep moving and grooving. Let's talk Florida State, Clemson real quick. Already talked about both these programs a little bit, but didn't talk about the spread. Florida State right now is laying 2.5 on the road. Javon, all systems go on Clemson, +2.5 at home here.
Yeah, I do like Clemson. Again, like if they don't see 3, that's a little concerning to me. But what I saw from FSU on both sides of the line concerned me against Boston College. Yeah, weird game, weird look ahead spot, whatever it may be. But it seems like Clemson's the play here. I wouldn't be surprised too, which kind of led by the Clemson defense here, if we just get like a low-scoring slugfest. Like I would not be shocked in the slightest. I want to pay attention to where that total moves because I definitely lean an under here.
100%. Any game like this, I'm taking the under. I don't care how good the offense is. I don't care how high the total is. Give me the under. Yeah. Everyone on earth bet me over in this game, and it'll find a way to go under in a primetime spot with some nerves going on with the offenses. I'm with you on that. What about Ole Miss and Bama? Let's talk about Bama a little bit. And Javon, if you had to guess, who the heck is playing QB for the time?
They said Milroe is confirmed.
They're putting them back in there? Great. Are they going to see a spark from their offense here? Are they going to win this game by more than 7? Because very rarely are you ever going to get Bama at home only laying 7 points, Javon. Do we buy low on this team? Do we fade? Do we stay off? What are your thoughts?
I definitely lean siding with Bama in this one. Because, I mean, this is probably the lowest stock you're going to get from Bama, not just like this season, but really for probably the last handful of years. And obviously it's not the same caliber team they've had, but at home against Ole Miss, who, I mean, defensively, they haven't shown me all that much to believe that they're going to be dominant against whatever quarterback they would run out there. Like, obviously it's Milroe. I think he can be pretty successful against them. So I do think it's going to be back and forth. I think the offense looks good this week.
I'm with you. And I think our friend Lane Kiffin is undefeated against the spread this year. We know he wants to beat Coach Saban, but
we know he wants to cover too. They're
cover machines.
Yeah, they're doing it deliberately. They're like not as bad as Penn State, but it seems very intentional.
Yes, it does. And that's sketch. I'm just gonna say it. It is. It's sketch. why do they care so much? And also, why did Sean McVay kick a field goal at the end of the game on Sunday to cover the spread for the Rams? That's a head scratcher. I don't know a single reason, and somebody in chat, let me know. What would be a singular reason to kick a field goal there with 3 seconds left? You know there's not going to be any time left on the clock after you kick it. It was so weird.
Well, he did like 2 scores.
Tiebreakers for points at the end of the season. That's the 9th tiebreaker, Javon. It doesn't matter. It never comes into play. The whole thing is fucking weird, man. He knew the spread. He knew the spread. Maybe he didn't have it. Maybe he just tried to come through for bettors. Maybe he's just a cool dude, McVay. I don't know. I know he's rich enough where he's probably not betting on the side. Maybe he's just taking care of the fans. Yeah. But that was wild. All right, let's keep moving. Agree with Javon. Colorado versus Oregon. 21-point spread. But guys, Colorado's undefeated. They got Coach Prime. They got Sanders at QB. They got Sanders at corner, making pick sixes. They're laying 21. They're going to get destroyed by Bo Nix in Oregon on the road. It's going to be ugly. For the first time this season, you guys get to see an elite offense play against that moose shit defense from Colorado. And unless Coach Prime's suiting up the cleats himself and going out there to play corner, it's going to be a bloodbath. Oregon by 21. Oregon by 31. They win this game back.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what Torrey Holton was able to do running the same route the entire game. Good luck covering Troy Franklin.
Uncoverable. Nobody can cover that kid.
No, and nobody's, especially, I mean, they were getting cooked with Travis Hunter on Torrey Holton and the guys for a portion of that game. So we'll see how they do now.
WCLV, Devin. Sheesh.
Yeah, big W.
Okay. Chat, give me the points. It's not too many. They win this game by 30. Bo Nix is going to tear them apart. It's going to get ugly. Javon, are you with me on this one, or are you sitting this one out?
Nah, I gotta hop in. To be honest with you, I mean, I think it's obviously the square angle here is to take Colorado and maybe the over. I think one of those is going to hit, and I think it's going to be the over. I don't see a world where, I mean, Colorado's offense can do enough to stay in this game at least early. I think Oregon pulls away kind of in the second half just because they have too many guns. And no, I just feel like it shouldn't.
No. Fading the most public team to ever exist in sports history is not square, if that's what they're asking in chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why the other comment right below that said you're just hating. I don't know why people can't figure out there's a difference between just hating on Colorado and Coach Prime and actually like looking at the football in front of you. Like, there's a difference. Like everybody who was talking about TCU being frauds last year, it's not hating on Sonny Dykes. It's you thought they were fraudulent on the football field, and you're wrong partially with that. But it doesn't have to do with like Sonny Dykes or Max Duggan. It's not hating. It's football. Like
it's football. And what I'm seeing out of this defense in Colorado is that they're going to have one heck of a time slowing down the elite Pac-12 offenses. Guys, that's not rocket science, and you can't tell me I'm wrong. They can barely slow down Colorado State, one of the worst teams in college football. If they didn't have TCU turning the ball over and fucking up on 4th downs, not stopping them, or if they didn't have Nebraska turn the ball over 5 times, Colorado wouldn't even be in this position. And now they're going to play a real team? We'll see how it goes, folks. We'll see how it goes. I'll have my money on Oregon. I'm sure you guys will be on Colorado, Coach Prime, plus 21.5. But just remember this, okay? Vegas doesn't look like it does with Colorado covering every week, okay? And the books know that they cannot get burned by this team anymore. If they do, their pockets are going to be thin like they were after week 2, all right? They're going to set these spreads so that you still take the bait, and you can't win a bet with a Buffs ticket in your pocket. It's impossible. They're going to make it impossible by setting these lines exactly where they need to be. Krabs and Javon like Braun and Wade when it comes to Hayden, sure.
Sure.
Guys, did you see the clip of Coach Prime not even knowing who his center was? Did you guys see that video? Do we need to pull that up right now, man? I don't want to, but I will. Do I need to pull that video up from Whitlock? Do you guys want to see that? Because that was bad. He didn't even know who the center was, the guy who's snapping the ball to his kid. You want to pull it up? Oh, man, I wasn't going to bring it up today, but now we'll go down that path. It's bad, man. It's bad. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Somebody tweeted it to me not that long ago. Here it is. Yep. Goots, I'm going to text it to you, brother. Let me see if I can put it in the private chat because it's bad. Yep, I can. We'll talk about it. Guys, this is what Colorado did, and Whitlock explains this perfectly. Colorado made an investment. The city of Boulder made an investment to pay Coach Prime, who, by the way, is a football legend and a beast, to come in and grow the economy. And that's what they're doing. Guys, they made like $50 million last week. You guys saw that tweet going around. It's working 100%. But Coach Prime doesn't even know the name of the center who started this week. You guys watch this clip and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Can we play that clip again? I want to play the clip again just because I want to give you all a chance to rewatch it, rehear it. And I want you to ask yourself, does Deion even know who his starting center is? I don't believe he does. Play the clip.
Can you talk about Hank Zelinkas? He was a true freshman that got to start today at center. Hank Zelinkas.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking Hank.
Yeah, he got to start as a true freshman today at center. Can you talk about him?
It's hard. I was watching how everything flowed. I haven't watched film to see how he really performed, but he stepped up. And that's what this business is a next man up type of business. So I'm proud that he stepped up. I haven't watched the game film to really give you a true evaluation on how he did.
Correct. He didn't even know the name of the kid, and you could tell he's bullshitting because that kid played like shit and got exposed, and he made up some sort of reasoning. Krabs, if you think that he doesn't actually know the name of his own center, quoting Whitlock, ha ha ha.
Is it quoting Whitlock though? Because he said it. It wasn't quoting Whitlock. Like he's just the one that brought it up. But yeah, Whitlock is a bozo, but it's not act like he created the things that Coach Prime said out of his mouth. But
no, he did not. And he did not know the name of the center. He didn't know who that kid was, and the kid got exposed, and he made it up saying he stepped up and played great. But they asked him that question because the kid almost cost him the game. And that's how you know he didn't know the fucking kid's name and who's playing center, who's snapping the ball to his kid. He's probably too focused putting the chains on his kid mid-game when you're losing to Colorado State.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, keep him out the tonsils, chat, man. You got him so deep.
Unbelievable. You guys are saying that's a reach.
Like it's their blood.
He doesn't even know the kid's name. He's giving me Ron Rivera vibes.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what's going on.
If it was anybody else, everybody would be clouding him in chat. But
I guess he gets a pass for that too, not even knowing the center's name. Whatever. It's unbelievable at this point. All right, let's keep moving and grooving. All right, chat gets this one. They win. All right, we'll give them Colorado. Let's talk about Arkansas and LSU, a game where the squad's going to be boots on ground. Okay. Also, not a mush. Do you know Ball? He robbed us. We paid him in the prime of his career, and he came over here and didn't do shit after being a beast for the Cowboys and tearing us up. So
he's got even more reason.
Like him, because he came over here and played like dog water for us on a crazy contract. All right, let's keep moving and grooving. Javon, boots on ground, squad's going to LSU, or Mikey's going to LSU this weekend against Arkansas. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed of what I saw from Jaden Daniels last week against Mississippi State, who, I mean, I don't think is very good, and defensively they got a lot to work out there too, but you look good. You look efficient pretty much in every single facet of the game. So like an Arkansas team who has not impressed me much. They're coming off a pretty disappointing loss too against the Mormons at home, I believe, too. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a game that looks very similar to last week with LSU. And I guess it all kind of rests on Jaden Daniels and how he looks. But I definitely believe in the guys here.
100%. And we got a sub bang from Pax Picks coming in hot. 4 months, my man. W's. Okay. Let's keep moving and grooving. I'm with you on LSU, though, Javon. And let's get to a couple more of these games. I want to give a couple line checks on a few more of these. Iowa, Penn State. We've got a whiteout this weekend, Javon. People were talking. Could it be Penn State? who's laying 14.5 in this spot. That's a crazy fat spread against a ranked Iowa team.
It's pretty fat. And I definitely don't want to go around fading Penn State with how intentional their spread covering is looked. If you want to talk about a team who Ole Miss does it some of the time, they had a couple plays that were pretty questionable. Penn State, if you watch that game or these couple of games that it's happened, you're telling me they don't know the lines and they're trying to do it. I'm not the biggest conspiracy theory guy in that aspect, but like theirs has looked like ridiculously blatant. So like I don't want to go around them fading in a game like this, but I do think that the offenses are going to be kind of good in this game. I've been kind of pinpoint around. I've been dodging around, taking like Iowa overs against some of the teams. I thought their offense was going to be good. So I haven't really pushed the button too much on it yet. I think today or this week I will. I think it's going to be a lot of very efficient run game. Both these teams are not penalized all that much either, which helps too. So I think it's going to be a game where we see some points. So a couple really explosive plays.
Okay. Maybe it's the over.
Yeah.
In an Iowa game, which would be rare.
Very.
And yeah, we know they need to be putting up points to keep their coaching staff intact. My goodness. All right, Javon, that's enough college football for one day. We're going to talk MLB, but wanted to point out 3 lines for NFL this Sunday as we're doing the look-ahead lines. How about the Packers laying 2 against the Saints, who just won last week? I guess odds makers aren't buying it either, and they know the truth that the Saints are beat.
Yeah, the Saints are not good.
No, they're not.
I don't know why people came and I was very confused. We talked about the belief in the Saints offense this year, and that was almost as popular. I was shocked when people were all in on the Saints and didn't care about the Falcons, and I was stupid for taking the Falcons. So I'm not victory lapping that, but I don't believe in the Saints offense, and you really shouldn't, not just because of what we've seen in the last 2 weeks, but Derek Carr is not good. This offense loses its explosiveness without Alvin Kamara, really, who's going to be back, I believe, 2 weeks. I think it was 4 games or was it 3 games? Regardless, not for this game. So you definitely want to monitor the health of Christian Watson and Aaron Jones, see if they're going to be back. But if this is 1.5 pre-confirmation of the return of injury for those 2 guys, possibly, it's a lot of respect, even at home. I was surprised to see that. So definitely unpack.
Give me the Pack. Fade the Saints. They are atrocious. I know that they got a win last night. Was not pretty, and I'm still low on that team. I'm with you, Javon. How about Pitt and Vegas? After watching Pitt get a nice little outright win last night, Javon, thanks to their defense, thanks to TJ Watt, they are now an underdog on the road against the mid-Raiders. I know the Raiders have done their jobs or been decent so far this season. Do you think this line is an overreaction to the Raiders? And are you surprised to see the Steelers as underdogs after last night?
I'm not surprised to see it. Definitely a tad weird, but this is another game where I kind of see points in this game. As pitiful as the Raiders defense looked, this feels like, Kenny Pickett coming out party. If there was one game on the schedule that I was targeting for his 300-plus yard passing game, it would be this one. And I think this is going to be a lot more of an aerial attack than you'd think. Like now you're getting Cam Hayward back, I believe, is the plan this week. So like Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb, when he was still in the game, ran all over them up the middle last night, and that's not going to be the same with Josh Jacobs this week, who's already been pretty inefficient. So I think it's going to be a lot through the air for both these teams. And if there's a team I'm taking in that, I still think it's the Steelers. Am I willing to go to the grave with them as an underdog? No, but I do kind of lean points. I'd be interested to see if I believe it was sitting at 44 last I checked, so it's moved down. But if it starts to trickle back up throughout the week, it could be in.
Ooh, word on the street, we got a Diplo concert post-game. That place is about to be rocking. Danny Mahoney, I'm sure he'll be there taking flex. W's. Steelers opened up as a favorite in that game, Jay Nasty's saying.
Yeah.
That makes this line move even weirder if it happened after the game last night when they won outright. Interesting. Okay. And then real quick, what about the Eagles and Bucks, Javon? Thoughts on that look-ahead line? Are you surprised to see the Bucks getting this much respect? Or is the 2-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do they deserve being this short of an underdog against the Eagles?
No. But when I look at this line, yes, you have, the 2-0 as opposed to coming out of the offseason with this line, but this looks very similar to the Vikings line, the way that it's moved. It's outside of the fact that this game is in Tampa. So I wouldn't go near fading Baker Mayfield. I think the train is going to stop somewhere. Like if you want to have a defense that's going to kind of expose him in the way that you need to expose Baker Mayfield, like it's going to be the Eagles. But I don't know. I'm interested to see how this one goes. I don't have a strong lean on this one yet. I'm interested to see. I mean, it's already gone from 5.5 to 5 just in the hour since we got on stream here. So if it keeps dropping, those big moves have been printing. So I am not going to be one to fade Baker on Monday. I'll let it happen.
Okay. Maybe it's the Bucs legacy season and in that division, Javon. They sure as hell have a shot.
It'll end in a while or in a couple games. It's just I don't know if this is quite the game yet. I think they can make it close and lose like a heartbreaking field goal game. See, okay. I said the same thing to Jen. The Bucs were 2-0 with Fitzpatrick, and then they came in. They looked like good to start the season. Deshaun Jackson was there. Then Monday night, they came and they lost a heartbreaker to the Steelers, and it broke the rest of their season. So could be the same spot, but I do think regardless, it's a pretty close game.
Okay. W's. Maybe grab the points before it's too late because that one might be going to 4.5. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. W's. Let's keep moving. Let's keep grooving, folks. We've got an MLB slate to attack, and we've got about 30 minutes. Real quick, guys, if you haven't been placing second half prize picks entries, or if you haven't been sending even fourth quarter prize picks entries for these NFL primetime games, you need help finding data. You need help finding winners. Download props.cash. Okay. Use our promo code BOOKIT. Get 25% off your first month. They're the only app out there where you can find lines and previous data on these second half and quarter lines. So check it out. If you're betting on prize picks and you're not using props.cash, especially now for these primetime games, you are lacking. All right. You're missing out. It's cheap. Use our promo code to get even more of a discount. And if you don't love it after a month, get rid of it. But I promise you, if you're betting prize picks and you're not using props.cash, you are a step behind because it's elite. I mean, Lauren will tell you, she's in there every day and she's hitting the most slips out of all of us. There's a correlation.
Surge.
All right. And the link is right here. It's available in the App Store and Google Play. Check it out. All right. And I'm telling you, we move. Javon, take us through the MLB slate. All right. I'll chime in when I got angles and I got plays. But give us a rundown of these games and also tell us about the D-backs, Cubs, Reds, and Marlins all being within one game of each other, fighting out for those final 2 wildcard spots. It's going to be nuts down the stretch.
Dude, this race is awesome to follow, but also is giving me a heart attack. This is an insane race. Thankfully, the Marlins finally lost a game. I didn't think we'd be saying a Jeff McNeil game-winning home run against Tanner Scott would be what we'd see last night there, but that was massive for them to finally lose.
Oh, no.
Might be
10
frozen.
Fours, chat?
Frozen?
Chat 10s? Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no. Network error.
No.
Chat, can we get some 10s going? Can we get some 4s going? Back.
Are we back?
Back. W's. Let's
go.
get some
There we
10s.
go.
Let's get some 4s. We're back. We're good. That was super weird. And it kicked out everybody from the lobby. I fucking bet. That's so annoying. All right, Javon, keep talking about this series and take us through these MLB games.
Yeah, so this is a crazy little race here. Reds, big win last night, big series against the Twins, against some pretty good pitchers. I thought Joe Ryan would get touched up a little bit yesterday. Did. Kind of think the same about Maeda. Talk about that in a second. Cubs are playing terrible baseball. D-backs are starting to surge. And yeah, that's definitely who got us, man. That's who got us. But yeah, this will be a fun race.
Glenn Bong, we do it all for you, but how about you pipe down over there? Talking baseball. Keep moving and grabbing.
Hilarious. Yeah, let's get to the slate. What do we have first? Rays. Yeah, Rays Angels.
Rays report. Need it.
I honestly like the very rare Rays home run line in this game. So I think Taj Bradley is going to shove. I mean, it's not the hottest take against the Angels lineup that is just absolutely pitiful. I think you're going to see a Taj Bradley big strikeout game down. Somebody, I think not Mitch Matt, said he was texted me and said he wanted to ladder his Ks. I'm in on that. I want to take his over strikeouts against this lineup. I think he absolutely dices, and the Rays kind of back for his left-handed pitching. So Patrick Sandoval, especially if they're very patient, which they have been lately, and kind of get him into deep pitch counts, I think they're going to score a lot of runs off of them pretty early. So if we see a couple walks early in the game from them, they're going to score a lot of runs. I think it's going to be very ugly very quickly for the Rays. Rays TTO is not a bad look either. Boston Sports Dork. I do think they score. I think they get team total 4.5. I definitely think they get 5. I think it's like a 6-2 type game for the Rays here. Maybe lands right on that 8. So I like that there. Marlins game, I really don't want to go back to backing on Joey Lucchesi and the Marlins to lose another game because they just simply can't lose right now. I know they finally lost, but they're coming off a sweep of the Braves, and before that, they're magical, especially in these lower scoring games. So I don't necessarily want to back Joey Lucchesi, especially because they have still been hitting well against left-handed pitching. So I'm going to stay away from this one for sure. In Cincinnati, though, I'm not staying away there. I'm going to glue them. Fernando Cruz / bullpen game going for the Reds. I trust them. Their bullpen has actually been one of the best in the league the past couple weeks, which is shocking to say. So I'm kind of getting back to the point, not necessarily where I trust them, but it feels more comfortable backing them in bullpen games because they've had to have a lot of them lately. But Kento Maeda, too, he's been relatively solid over the past handful of starts. He's going into Great American Ballpark where I don't think a lot of his stuff is going to translate. A lot of these Reds are going to sit on his fastball especially, and he's going to have trouble with that. The splitter, I don't think it's going to be much of a concern for a lot of the righties, especially for the Reds. So I do think he gets hit up a little bit. I think we see a couple runs off him early, and I think the Reds bullpen does their job. So I am on the Reds ML today. I would love another win.
Two words.
Love another win.
Glue.
2 words, yeah.
Glue.
So yeah, we'll be rooting for some bangs in Great American today.
Oh yeah.
Yankees, this series is weird. So I mean, the Yankees technically are not eliminated, I don't think yet. I think there's still a couple games out of it, but the Jays need every win. So you're talking about a team who has looked absolutely pitiful. They've squandered every chance, including the Rangers series, to kind of keep themselves in the race. They haven't done it. And what do I see for this game in the series? I see the Yankees favored to win this series. And they're favored today with Clark Schmidt on the mound. And tomorrow they're a very, very short favorite with Kevin Gausman on the mound against the Yankees bullpen game. So it's making me think they're going to keep faltering. And baseball brain too, Clark Schmidt, again, really good against righties, not so good against lefties. The Blue Jays have a lot of righties that can hurt you, not as many lefties. So they're a team that I've targeted against a lot of these platoon guys quite a bit over the past handful of starts especially, but really early in the season too when he wasn't as good. So I do think Clark Schmidt pitches pretty well, but again, even as bad as the Yankees have been in spots, what do they do well? They hit lefties well. And they haven't been top of the league necessarily like they were probably a handful of weeks ago, but they're still doing pretty well. So at home today, I do think they get to Kikuchi a little bit. Again, a lot of batters in that lineup. I've seen him a couple times too. So I do think we get a Yankees win here. Definitely the Yanks.
Wow. And a Yanks series win. In this
Yanks series win too. Yeah, because we got short favorite Schmidt Kikuchi. Tomorrow we have Kevin Gausman against Michael King / bullpen game for the Yankees. And then what do we have? Game 3. Game 3 is Barrios Cole, which should be a pretty relatively even matchup there. So
get that bozo off the screen, Goots. What are we doing? Get him out. Get
crazy. You want to talk about Nats ML?
Yeah, I want to talk about Nats ML. And yeah, I don't know what was up with those Martians, Kobe. Super weird, but it seems like we're working now. Nats ML, sure. My guy, Jackson Rutledge, who made his debut about a week ago and maybe had the worst debut of the season, definitely was up there because that was brutal. He gave up 7 runs. I think he gave up 4 runs in the first inning, Javon. He did not have it. But now he's a favorite after the Nats almost got shut out last night by the White Sox in what ended up being a very heated game after the Clevenger and Dom Smith beef. The bench is cleared. I'd be willing to bet that these teams are going to come out with some energy today and some motivation. And with Jackson Rutledge on the bump, looking to kind of prove himself still after an atrocious opening start, I think he bounces back. And seeing him as a favorite in this spot is pretty crazy after how poor he looked. But I know he's got the stuff. The guy's 6'8", and he throws 97 miles an hour, and he has a really good slider. He's got the stuff. He just looked like crap in his debut and was nervous. Now he gets a chance once again at home against a mid-White Sox team that just won last night and beat us, easily. And now they're an underdog against a rookie. who stinks, right, Javon? And he has that 2.5 earned run square up on Prize Picks. So it's looking like it's not going to be Rutledge who's the problem. If anything, it'll be our bullpen late, but love the Rutledge less than 2.5 earned run square. I think he deals against the mid-White Sox lineup, and I love the spot for the Nats, who had a little bit more motivation after Dom Smith got chirped for hitting his 10th home run of the season last night. Give me the Nats ML and give me Rutledge to give up less than 2.5 earned runs.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Nats too. With Jose Urena, he's been pretty solid since he's come back. Last start, he gave up 6, but he can't box score watch because he was really good for about 5 to 6 innings in that game and then got destroyed towards the end of his outing. So like overall, he looked ridiculously good. Like I was on the Twins in that game and I genuinely thought I was about to get like Wainwrighted because he was just I don't know how he was getting batters out that entire game. Thankfully, they had a massive inning towards the end, which all the runs were pretty much charged at him, but not all of them were off of him. But he looked really good against the Nats today. I think they put up runs against him. And I do think Rutledge is going to pitch pretty well. Maybe David Martinez, his burner, doesn't think so, but I'm glad to get it.
After Dom Smith's getting chirped last night after hitting a nuke, you're telling me nobody's coming in locked today, Davey? Come on, that's your job, brother. Get him locked.
Yeah, people sleep.
Locked in.
Lano's plus 400 to get a win. People do sleep.
And we didn't bet it because we're soft.
Yeah, I mean, Dior is 100% right. We were saying in the chat that we should squad ride that. That would have been the craziest squad ride win of all time.
It literally would have been, and we should have done it.
Yeah, yep. We should have done it.
Krabs, we need a 2-piece revenge nuke. Yes, I will work on a 2-piece revenge slip after going 0 for 4 out of the 2 slips I sent the last 2 days because those were disgusting.
Yeah.
Those slips were atrocious. We need to find winners today. Maybe we start out with that Rutledge 2.5 earned run square. That one's looking fun.
Maybe we do.
Keep rolling, keep moving and grooving, Javon, through these MLB games. The people need winners. The people need milk.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this Phillies game because I assume we're probably going to see Lorenzen at some point, which is what they've kind of done. Piggybacking him, they've kind of been shortening Christopher Sanchez's leash. So I don't know the plan exactly with the Phillies, which makes it hard to kind of go after, especially with how good the Phillies have been and how terrible the Braves pitching, Strider included, has been over the past couple of weeks here. So I don't want to get cute with the Phillies because it does seem at this point in time a little too easy, which is I don't think you'd be saying that about fading the Braves anytime soon, but you can right now. So I'm going to wait to fade the Braves. I'm good. I've already done it a couple times, so I'm not going to push my buttons there. Same thing with the Royals bullpen game against Logan Allen. I'm going to take my money and run after we did yesterday, but we did fade the Royals or to back the Royals against Logan Allen at home a couple months ago. He had seen them a couple times, including 2 starts in a row. I like the matchup outside of that, like no context included. But again, he's facing the same lineup quite a few times. So I do think he has a pretty tough day. Am I willing to back the Royals in the bullpen game, though? No, not necessarily. But this is one I wouldn't mind. The over, I believe, snuck over by a run yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if this one is much easier. So I do like this over here. Pirates-Cubs game is interesting. I mean, I have no idea what the pitching plan is for the Pirates. I assume we're getting Bailey Falter and some like modified bullpen game, but on the other side, we're getting Javier Assad. Javier Assad sucks. And throughout the last couple of weeks, so what they did through August, they started letting him go longer and longer. He had a couple games where he went 7 innings. I think first game of this month against the Reds, he went 8 innings. That screwed him up because the next couple starts, the velo on every single pitch is down. The spin rate's down. He hasn't been able to go as long in those couple starts. So he's tired. They screwed up letting him go that long if they have any plans of him pitching when it matters, which, I mean, Cubs fans are probably hoping he doesn't. So I think the fatigue's an issue. So, like, going up against the Pirates today, I think he gives up runs. The most important thing, like, about the whole fatigue situation, not only is the velo down, spin rates are down, but also the strikeout stuff hasn't been there at the same rate. Like, he had games in August where he was striking out 7. He had an 8 strikeout game as well. He has not had the same in the last couple of starts. I think he had one where he had no strikeouts, which was a shortened outing, but it doesn't look the same. So, like, the Pirates, the one concern is the strikeouts. So, like, if that's not there, he's screwed today. So, like, I like the Pirates straight up on the ML, and I will be taking Brian Reynolds to cross the plate. That's a square that's up on Prize Picks. But I think Assad does not have a good day. So I'm all in on that. Drew Rom, yeah.
Tell us about Drew
Rom's
Rom
back.
coming off a legacy start.
Yeah, Drew Rom, man. I don't think he's going to pitch incredibly well either, to be honest with you. Which I know we faded him a couple times. Hasn't been great. But on the other side, you have a Brewers bullpen game. So I really would lean to their side as much as I guess don't want the Brewers to win at that point. I guess it's pretty irrelevant now. But Drew Rom, the Brewers against lefties, they're kind of middle of the pack now, but there's a couple of guys that just find ways to get on base. Like if we're talking about the one or couple Brewers squares that look a little weird to me today, Mark Canha, who they have been leading off a little bit more against left-handed pitching. So if he is, this makes a little more sense. But he's up for 1.5 bases today, which is interesting. And he's been their lefty killer. So he's been no secret that he's kind of their guy for that role. But he's up there for 1.5 bases, which you see him up for hit run RBI pretty often. And then the other one that I take every single time that square is offered pretty much, or especially when they're facing a lefty. Andrew Monasterio is the luckiest hitter in baseball. He has like the lowest exit velocity out of any hitter that hits as well as he does, which I guess hits as well, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but he's up for hit run RBI. That square is continuously green, so I'm not going to miss the boat, especially with a lefty on a mound and Drew Rom coming off of an amazing start this time. So I do think the lineup in general gets to him, especially I think Monasterio is probably going to hit pretty low in the lineup, so it could be a positive correlation with Canha maybe there. But I do think they score off of Rom today. Not the same as yesterday. So I'm down to go with them there.
Okay.
What else do we have here?
We got a sub bang from Weiberg coming in 9 months, 9 months, and the Buffs to be bowl eligible was a lock with a little kissy face emoji. Weiberg, you win that chirp, man. I don't have anything to say. You just sub banged and chirped me at the same time. That's kind of a W for you.
You gotta let them take the dub until Colorado does.
Like that.
Right. Scrolling through these earned run price props. Guess what Javier Assad is sitting at?
What's he at?
2.5 minus 150 to the over.
Huh.
He hasn't been good, but that's fat for the Pirates. Really, any pitcher doesn't get that lack of respect against the Pirates. So that's interesting. The other one that's probably taken off on Prize Picks that catches my eye, and we can talk about this game now. I don't really have anything in Red Sox Rangers. I think we get runs there. Eovaldi's probably not going to go very long, and they're going to piggyback the bullpen, whether it's Martin Perez, Cody Bradford, Dane Dunning did it too. I don't know what the plan is there, but that bullpen's going to get hit. Tanner Houck is going to get hit as well, not facing the Yankees this time, thankfully for him, or not thankfully for him. So I think we get runs there. It's not a big play there for me, but it's Orioles-Astros game. I think we get an Astros bounce back. Swung in and whiffed on the Astros in the first 5, -0.5, because, of course, they took the lead in the 6th. But Hunter Brown, I hate that he's coming off of being a part of the no-hitter. Like, I don't think he's going to pitch incredibly well, personally. Like, I like this over, too. It's probably value-wise how I'd rather play it. But Kyle Gibson, that earned run square that you were talking about is probably gone because it's -140 to the over now. But I do think the Astros get to him today, especially a couple of the lefties. And I'm taking Yordan today over everything. This is like, line-wise, it looks very similar to when he hit the nuke that we all took and stacked that with Altuve. I assumed it was gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, but yeah, this looks very similar to like the matchup in lines of when we stacked him and he hit a nuke, through-run nuke, which wasn't enough for the over in that game, unfortunately, but gave us some hope. But I love this matchup for him. He's starting to see the ball pretty well. Didn't have a great game last night, like a couple of the Astros did not. But I think he bounced back and has a massive game. To answer the pitching outs question, that's kind of what Hunter Brown's at. Because
he's not even up there on the board.
Well, I think they're just talking lines because his line is, 14.5? It's just kind of like he doesn't have a massive leash anymore just because, he's been bad, but he's also they're trying to limit his innings because he's a rookie who hasn't pitched nearly this much in his entire career. So, yeah, that's kind of what you got to do. So I don't mind that, but I still don't think he pitches all that well either.
I don't either. He's got that 2.5 earned run square up after throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah, the other side to that is he has not pitched well against the Orioles. So, I don't know. It's kind of balanced on both sides for me. But, like, my eyes tell me that he has not been pitching very well. Last time in Baltimore, he gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. So, maybe a little bit of that, but I do think he struggles today a little bit.
Okay.
And we can power through the rest or a couple of these games. What else do we have? Mariners A's, I'm good. I'll be honest with you. I liked that under yesterday. That was about it. Got that shoved, whatever. Probably the same today. Not going to go to the grave with it, though. Blake Snell might throw a perfect game today. I'm not going to lie.
Huh.
I love his.
What about that Trejo square that's up?
I mean, what are they going to put up?
I don't know, but he's a red-out gob against a Cy Young winner. I'm taking that square. It's hitting.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault you for that. Maybe he throws a one-hit shutout and the one hit's trail.
That'll play. That'll play.
There we go. So, yeah, I think Blake Snell pitches an absolute gem. I think this might be one of the best starts of his season. So, I haven't figured out book-wise how to back him with that, but prize picks. I mean, I'm taking this over fantasy score. Don't care how green it is.
Let the people know what you think about that Gallon taco because they keep asking.
I mean, I'm never going to give the stamp of approval on any taco, really, just because they're usually there for a reason. But I think Gallon pitches really well. My quick take on that game, I think he throws a gem. I think the D-backs, who I talked about the Astros yesterday having the same relative line, and they did score first. They didn't come through on the other bets, but Snell tried to tell.
People forget about that, bro.
I don't know if people don't know how to do math, man. Like Watson is 30 yards short.
He's fine. Watson's fine. He's one 300-yard game away from being ahead of pace. Okay.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
That was just a funny comment.
I know. But people do struggle with math. And yeah, I think he's already locked up Cy Young. He's like minus 900. So
good.
This is the start to. He doesn't really need to say I'm here because he's already here, but I think he locks whatever questions are up. But for Zach Gallen, I think he pitches well. D-backs score first in this game. Really pick 'em line with a couple of these teams that the D-backs are even a little shorter than I usually look for, which is interesting. So give me them to score first in this game.
Okay. That's a cheeky prop I can get behind.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Anything in Dodgers Tigers?
I'm good there. I have no idea. I mean, I like Pepio, but not laying 245.
That's fair. All right, chat. It's about that time. What do they say about the Reds today, Weiberg? That meat be gloom. All right. Chat, squad rides. Have they been our best over the last week or so? No, they have not. But are we still 39 games over 500? Yes, we are. 128, 89, and 3. Let's bounce back today with an MLB winner. Okay, let's find an MLB play we love, and let's smack it because the squad ride needs a W to get that train rolling again. All right, folks? I nominate Nats ML. That should be a play to get the cold streak.
Good nomination. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, we're looking to break a cold streak when we went to Bethune-Cookman. So, I mean, Nats is nothing.
Facts. Great point. If we can bet Bethune-Cookman on a 3-game L streak, we could take the Nats ML today. All right? What else, Javon?
Reds. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I really like that D-backs to score first, too.
Gary to score first.
Throw that in there. Or, I mean, we could just throw the D-backs in there. But I like them to score first.
I like that bet. We'll keep it with that. Okay? Okay. If you guys want our cards, if you want our plays for all the days, first of all, follow me on Pickett. Okay, download Pickett Sports, the best bet tracking app out there by far. I track all my plays on there. But follow us on Twitter at these @ right next to our bodies in these squares, guys. At Krabs with the K _bets, at Javon _Deeb on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. We tweet out all our plays on there. All right, folks. Let's keep moving and grooving. Does Rutledge really have a 17 ERA? Yeah, he pitched 1 game. He looked terrible. A-Team and B-Team posted on Twitter. Yeah, sure. It's Dinger Tuesday. Javon has nothing for us. They don't do those promos anymore because they just lost $20 million, and they're probably worried about their own asses right now. But if Javon has a home run hitter, he'll give it to you after we get the squad ride vote going. Do we want to just roll with those 3 plays?
Do we have anything else we love?
I mean, we could take the Baltimore-Houston over. And we could throw that in there with Jordan fantasy score, or Jordan something.
Yeah. I mean, we're taking fantasy score, so I would leave that out just because it's not widely available, I guess, for some people. But
Do you
yeah,
want
I'm
to
down
just roll
with
with these?
Yeah, I'm down with these. I really like these.
Okay. All right, chat. 3 plays, 3 winners today for the squad ride, and you got 3 minutes to vote on these 3 plays. Nats ML, Cincy ML, glue that meat, and Arizona to score first. And I'm assuming that's a plus money, Javon?
It's even both ways, so it's minus 110, which is kind of the idea.
Yeah, that's
Strange.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay. W's. We got a follow from G Money. We got a follow from Doll_VL. Sure. W's. Appreciate the follows, folks. Guys, we're running on here live every single day, talking about sports, talking about bets from 12:30 to 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we got Trent taking over on the surgical stream right after this. Stick around. I think we got Lauren and Shelly, maybe Mikey as well, running the surge stream with him today too. So stick around, folks. Make sure you guys check out props.cash. By far the best app out there if you're betting on Prize Picks. If you haven't given it a shot yet, please go check it out. Download it. It's free on the App Store. At least go check it out. It's worth it. And I promise you it helps you hit more Prize Pick squares. It helps me. Hasn't helped me recently over the last 2 nights, but it sure as heck helps me. All right, plain and simple. Javon, cosine, Monasterio, hit run RBIs paired with Jordan bases?
Of course I do.
Sure.
I'm putting those squares in for sure.
W's. And yeah, Jay Clear, I knew somebody was coming in with a WNBA question. And I tried, man, and we are in the playoffs. Jay Clear, I promise you, I took a peep at the lines. I don't love the dogs today, man. I don't. And I think my sticks might get worked again today. Let's wait and see game 3 and potentially back in the sticks at home, Jay, because I don't think they have the juice right now. All right, so I won't be back in the sticks. Maybe game 3, but not tonight. Not tonight. All right, chat, get your votes in. Hurry up. Go, 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 go. We got a squad ride to vote for, and you guys got about 1 minute as we get Dreadful coming in hot with a follow. W's. Maldonado suiting up. He's covering that +4 himself late night. Let's fucking go.
Hunter Maldonado's back. There we go.
Is he back?
Hunter Maldonado might be back tonight. He's playing. Suiting up.
No, he's not. We got
Hunter Maldonado,
Cincy.
Graham Ike.
Sure. We got Cincy ML. We got me glued for a squad ride tonight, Javon. And we got a first-time chatter. Good luck today, everyone. W, nice shot. Coming in first-time chatter. Let's go, Ron. Sure. W's. No Kansas City over 9.5. Nope. It's the Reds that meets glue. That's all you got to know. Walner today. Yeah, go ahead and take Matt Walner today.
Don't say that. We don't want that. We don't want that, man.
Every time I say it, he hits a nuke. It is what it is.
They're playing the Reds.
It's too late.
It's
already been done.
Reds. What are we doing?
It's already been done. He probably will hit a nuke. Maybe we take the over instead. Chat, Reds ML. We move. We groove. Stick around for the surgical stream. All right. Trent's going to take you guys through the slate, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, if Javon doesn't kill me for saying Matt Waldner's name.
If he hits a nuke, man.